It puts you in
Yeah.
ketosis, which is actually what I was in when I was diagnosed with diabetes and almost
Okay,
died.
work. She was like,
Yeah.
okay, now it's my turn.
But I was skinny. I lost, what, 45 pounds in 2 weeks?
Is that real?
Yeah.
Becca, that's like a crazy experience you went through. Like how people describe ayahuasca, like that's what I imagine you going through.
It
Like
was ayahuasca prolonged over
it was
many,
like
many
you went
weeks.
through ayahuasca, but just like didn't hallucinate. Like your nightmare was like real.
Manic
Pixie
Jump Scare. Hosted by Quinn Murphy
and Becca Hobart.
Hi,
Hi,
we're
we're
Quinn.
Quinn and
And we're
we're
Becca.
Becca.
And welcome to Manic Pixie Jump Scare, a podcast where Becca and I talk openly about our shared delusions
Passions
and
and love
love for
for
each
each other.
other.
Okay. Well, welcome back to us. Yeah,
For
we are here
sure.
again.
Oh my God, buddy, he wants to be on the podcast recording. Hi, King.
Oh my God. Wait, bring him up. Bring him up.
Wait, buddy, do you want to come up? Up? Do you want to come up? Ah, can you guys see him?
Oh,
Oh, boo, 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 boo,
kitty.
boo.
Oh
Hi.
my
Oh.
God.
Do you have something to say to the
He's
people?
so cute.
He did not like the microphone, guys.
Okay, fair
Update.
enough. Okay,
Update.
he's kind of a recluse,
Do you
I've
wanna lag?
gathered.
Oh my God, buddy's a full recluse. He has shout out to everybody with social anxiety because
I
Penny.
kind of feel bad for you. Yeah, yeah.
No, the thing about Buddy is he's like the sweetest little dog ever, but um he's like he's just always been like socially anxious and he like growls and barks at people.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he's literally the nicest dog I've ever
Yeah.
had.
He's just
Um
scared.
yeah, he's just scared. He's just nervous.
That's kind of how Miss Honey is. She can't be picked up. Just one
Uh,
of those, one of
Sometimes
those.
little dogs don't like that.
I know, but it's so like I just want to grab them with
No,
everything in me.
when people pick up like big dogs, like when people pick up dogs like Buddy size, and I'm like, they are not dogs to be picked up.
That's not their vibe.
I
It's
know,
not
like
the vibe.
why would you pick that up? Like if you want a dog you can
Back
pick up,
up.
get a little chihuahua or something, but like
Exactly,
I would never pick my
exactly.
boy Buddy up. Like he's sovereign.
Mm-hmm. Good for him.
But anyway.
Yeah. Well, we're back again, and
Mm-hmm.
it has been a week since we talked. I will admit that.
Yeah.
And Quinn, I'm dying to know what has gone on with you since we last spoke.
Well, Becca, it happened. I have to say it happened. I saw the cinematic event of the year.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I saw the what's its name? Something something Android. Megan.
M3 Gin.
Yeah. It like stands for something though that Allison Williams explained so eloquently.
Yeah.
But yeah, I saw Megan and I was a little nervous going into it. Not after the movie came out, but like before the movie came out because like when the trailer came out, everybody was like, okay, this is an instant classic.
Mm-hmm.
And then I feel like this movie's marketing campaign has been really interesting because I feel like it was like really good, but almost like too aggressive at some points because I felt like public perception start to shift against the movie at one
Oh,
point. I
really?
felt, yeah, I kind of
Mm.
felt like people were kind of saying it was like annoying, or maybe this was only my algorithm, but like,
Mm.
yeah. So I was a little concerned, but then I think the movie being really fucking good, like redeemed if anybody was annoyed at the marketing.
Absolutely. No, yeah. The moment where she starts dancing in the hallway and
Uh-huh.
does a little kick with her back leg and then spoiler takes out a machete sword.
Uh-huh.
Sword. It's like
Also,
the
I
most
like how it was
playful
fully a
little bit of
machete and not like what it was supposed to be, which was like a paper cutter.
love that, honestly. No, I think yeah, so slayful and okay, Bloomhouse, like I think he unfortunately just knows how to do it.
Uh,
He just
No,
does.
the movie was so smart. It was like high camp at its finest, like
Mm-hmm.
just something that is completely in on the joke and
Yep.
knows it's stupid and is just executing it at the highest like degree, but also finds a way to be like kind of poignant at the same time and like say something important because like
Mm-hmm.
this movie did genuinely have a lot of like good places to jump off for like conversation around like our relationship to technology, the way in which our
Yeah.
technology is advancing, AI in
Mm-hmm.
general,
Absolutely.
and like but it's wrapped up in this like laugh out loud funny movie that's like
Ridiculous.
that is marketed as a horror movie but is kind of just like, and it is a horror movie but not in the way that like it's billed, I feel like.
Right.
Because like it's closer, I feel like it was being marketed closer to like a classic kind of like slasher film
Mm-hmm.
or like something like Chucky. Like, because like obviously the closest comparison is like
Yeah.
Chucky, but it was more like the work of like Jordan Peele or
Mm-hmm.
something like Happy Death Day, like that,
Yeah.
whatever company makes
Yeah.
that movie and like Freaky, where it's more like, oh, this is kind of light, it's a little bit more lighthearted and less scary, but
Yeah.
like the
Because it's
ideas behind it are much more scary than like just a slasher in the woods.
yeah, that's a good point.
Because like
By the way,
the idea of Megan is like the idea of something like Megan happening is more scary than like somebody like Michael Myers.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
like Michael Myers is ultimately like if you watch a Halloween movie, it's probably gonna be scarier than Megan was. Um,
Could be, could be.
mhm.
Yeah. Did you watch the latest Chucky
No.
with Aubrey Plaza as the mother?
Aubrey Plaza was in the Chucky. She's in the Chucky cinematic universe, the CCU.
So it's true, it's true.
Oh my
And
god.
the last Chucky, I mean, I watched it because of Aubrey Plaza.
Uh-huh.
And in the last Chucky, the Chucky is a robot little thing. Not
Um.
as advanced by any means as Megan is.
Mhm.
Um, but I thought it was interesting that like yeah, this like idea that it has been consistent in like a haunted doll has
Mhm.
been so like in the oldest little horror stories that 27-year-olds on their deathbeds were writing
Mhm.
as they had the whooping cough and were about to pass from it. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And
Pertussis.
so exactly.
No, honestly,
Yeah.
when she started singing Titanium,
I had to grab Lauren's wrist and like shake it.
I
Why
was
that song?
screaming. I was screaming. No, and I'm sad it was spoiled for me because it was something I saw before the movie even came out.
Oh, I'm so glad I
Um,
didn't see that. I was
and so I
shocked.
was expecting it. One second. My in-studio audience needs to leave.
I respect that.
Okay. Anyway.
Oh
Um,
boy.
but yeah. I ultimately I ultimately thought the villain of Megan was really the aunt though.
So we don't talk enough about how she's going to be charged for those murders.
Oh, yeah, that was another thing. I was like, why aren't we getting like the manslaughter like
Yeah, charge is cleared right
the
now.
way she
Like,
got four like manslaughter charges hanging over her head after
yeah.
this.
Like it's definitely not good for her 'cause she was the
No.
cause of it.
Oh yeah, literally. Oh yeah. Um, and she's also a very negligent like guardian.
Yeah, she sucks. She sucks
Um,
hard.
that was my friend Tony's thing. It was like it was kind of a sudden like shift for her character, which I ultimately agreed with, but I also did. It was nice because the character was like I didn't find the character unlikable.
The mommy?
Well, the auntie.
Yeah, true.
Um,
Yeah, she was fine.
yeah, but Megan's a new classic. I can't wait for it to span a 10 movie franchise.
So excited
I
actually.
cannot wait for Megan to come back in the little what are they called? Estes or whatever the Alexa thing was that they had in the movie that like lit up at the end.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Oh my God, literally.
I said, so they knew they had a classic on their hands.
They knew they had to set themselves up, and
Also,
it's
the
true,
fact
it's
that the
true.
penny nickel dime girl is the voice of Megan, it's just.
Wait, what?
Have you ever seen the penny nickel dime video?
Yeah?
That girl, the blonde girl, is the voice of Megan in Megan. That was like the
Are
first thing
you
I saw about the movie.
are you
Jenna
literally
Davis.
lying?
No, I wish I was. Actually, I don't, because this is one of the funniest things about the planet Earth right now.
I'm so happy. She
Penny
got
nickel dime,
hers.
penny nickel.
She
Guys,
got hers.
literally,
You
guys,
can get yours.
no, literally. Now we need to find where her friend is, who she did penny nickel dime with.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Obsessed actually with that.
No, yeah,
Wow.
no. And once you understand it, you can't like unhear it in her voice.
Wow.
But yeah. Also, something Becca and I were talking about before, but we decided to save for you guys
Yeah.
because we haven't received any feedback about how you guys respond to when we talk about this on air. But Becca and I like to talk about it. So,
Yeah. We're just gonna assume it's positive.
the new Below Deck for this week has aired. Becca, high level thoughts. What do you think is? How do you think Saint David is going?
Okay, I think you're right that Fraser is not that great of a chief stew.
Yeah. Yet.
Potential, but he kind of is avoidant
Uh-huh.
in his management style,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is an issue, especially compared to Captain Sandy, who is so
Yeah. Oh, that's a really good
like
point.
ready to solve problems and like do it. She
Mm-hmm.
doesn't want anything avoided. And I think that's
Mm-hmm.
why they butt heads in this most recent episode.
Lesbian versus gay man. Like, let's. It's a
A
classic
classic,
dichotomy.
another
Classic
literary
dichotomy.
classic in
It is
all
a
horror pieces.
Yes.
That's the crux of it. But also, and I said this before, I'll say it again. I like Camille as a person. I don't think she is that. I don't think she's a very good worker.
Uh-huh.
I hate Alyssa as a person.
Mm.
I find her so annoying.
I was a little bit more endeared to Alyssa last episode. Do you know what? Honestly, I was kind of hoping.
What?
I was kind of hoping what Sandy said about both of them getting fired would have come true. Like, I wish they would have
I
blown up
would
at
have
each other
loved
again. Because I
that
was like, oh, this would actually be the perfect resolution of this conflict. And that's why they're both so unlikable.
to see them
But
both go. Yeah.
it's not ultimately going to be what happens.
I know. It makes me sad.
Which
Kind
also, like,
of.
they could not fire two stews at the same time.
That would have been so difficult.
Because I've always gotten
Yeah.
the sense that stews were harder to find than deckhands
I think that's true. Because you
from the
could have
show.
worked on any boat and sort of like figure out how to do the ropes on this one.
Yes.
But like you have to be so good to be a stew.
Yeah,
Like you have to be so
just like
on it.
turn down, like something
Yeah.
like that's like technical skills or like laundry or like
Yeah.
that's technical skills you can't like, you know. But you're because
Got
like
it.
the first 6, I don't think it was till season 6 that a stew left.
Really?
And she wasn't even fired. I'm pretty sure Caroline was the first stew to like. Did Caroline get fired or did she quit?
I thought Rocky got fired.
No, Rocky kept her job.
Oh my dear God, how?
They said we
Love
got a good
her.
character. Do you remember when Leon left the boat and
Oh
Rocky like
yeah.
stepped in as sous chef and put like a drop of grenadine in the oyster?
I think about that every day. She was like, I'm actually a chef too. I've studied. And then put grenadine in oysters and guess threw up. He had
Imagine
to
if
throw up.
you were like an inordinately wealthy person and you paid, what is it, like it's in the figure of like hundreds of thousands, right?
Yeah, for sure.
You pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to rent a super yacht for 3 days.
Yeah.
And you get served an oyster with a drop of grenadine in it, which is cherry like
Juice.
juice, basically. Like,
Dude. No, even Eddie was like, I don't think you should do that. I don't think you should do that. She also was fully cooking crew dinners that were just raw. Just
Oh my
raw.
God.
Like wasn't edible. She was I did love her a lot though. For how crazy she was.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I was confused going back to this season when
Mhm.
Fraser makes the decision to fire Camille, basically. After
Right.
Camille was drinking on the job. Like not with charter guests on board, but just had a like full ass glass of white wine walking around the boat.
Yeah.
Like
That
on
is her fault.
oh yeah, oh, 1,000%. And
Yeah,
it's
she just
like
does things like that. That's
that's the
like,
other thing.
ugh.
It's like if you know you have like if you know you're on your last leg, why would you even risk something like that?
No, literally. Like, why? And then
Like
why would
shouldn't
you
you
backtalk? Exactly.
literally and but Fraser makes the decision to fire her. And then Fraser's like, "I love the girl." And I'm like, "Do you?"
I feel like you hate her.
Yeah, I feel like if Fraser really likes her, then that should have been like more explicitly kind of like shown because it was
Right.
also confusing that Fraser was kind of like coddling her after her and Alyssa like blew up at each other. I did also see a post on I don't know where it was, it might have been Reddit or something, but about how like after Camille and Alyssa's blow up, like Camille gets told to like go and take a break, but Alyssa like just keeps working.
Yeah. I know people would definitely were babying Camille.
Mm,
But also,
yeah.
okay, a moment I found so insane was when Camille came in Haley and Alyssa's room. It was like,
Oh,
"Do you have an eyeliner pencil?" And Alyssa just goes, "I hate
I
you."
hate you. When she just opened it with I hate you, I was like, oh my God. But she said it like weird and like cutesy.
Yeah, it was kind of
And then did you see
crazy.
the shot where they were like holding hands at the restaurant?
Yes. Yeah.
I will say,
Oh boy.
I did get a hearty chuckle when they're getting in the van to leave dinner, and Ben at this point is getting involved, who has
Ben,
a
I love him.
really, I didn't like him getting involved. Because you're anti-Alyssa. I was like, why are you involved?
That's fair.
Um, but anyway, why are you as a man
Fair.
involved in
Fair.
women's issues? No, but anyway, I do like Ben just generally. Um, but Ben steps in and Alyssa's just like, oh, because Ben's obsessed with Camille and her diseased pussy for some reason.
Literally.
I was like, oh my God.
Oh boy.
That's a
Oh
crazy
boy.
thing to say about another person that they have a
I will say,
diseased pussy.
okay, Ben wasn't like, you say this about Camille. Ben was just like, just get in the car and shut up. Which, yeah, that comes from his love for Camille.
Hmm.
But like Alyssa just annoys me with how I don't know, she just like I feel like she does start things.
Oh, 1,000%. No, we talked about how I feel like at this point, for a couple weeks now, she has decided how she feels about Camille, and
Yeah,
she's not really like she's not
working on
really
changing that.
yes, uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah,
Which
exactly.
I think makes sense and like what based off what Alyssa has told us, because like she's talking about how Camille like reminds her of her dad and how she has like a three strikes policy with people and all this stuff. But yeah.
Yeah,
And then Miss Haley, of course, in the middle, but like
poor girl. Poor
doing such a
thing.
beautiful job.
Yeah, she's just trying to
Miss
listen to
Tits in a
both of them and
wig.
like not love her.
Haley's trying to hear both sides.
But also when they start talking to each other, she's like, I am gonna check out.
Yeah.
Cannot be here for that.
No, and like if people just listen to Haley, it would like everything would be resolved. There wouldn't be any
It would
drama because
all
she's
be
always
fine.
saying the right thing.
Exactly.
I will
Um,
say I have no idea where the conflict is going to come from. Like I don't know what
yeah, what are
I
we gonna
wonder
do?
I wonder what's going to happen the rest of the season because now like the I mean I
I
guess
wonder if
it can only really shift to like Ross.
I was gonna say Ross, or I don't know, what if like then it's like a Ben versus Alyssa thing? Like Ben's gonna be pissed.
Oh yeah. But I also don't see Ben like caring about it like enough to like. It's
Create an
also
issue like
that's not
that.
an interesting conflict. I had like a whole inner monologue to myself about this. It's not interesting when like a bosun and Stu are like at odds, you know?
Right.
Because they really don't work together that much.
Yeah, they don't share space. That's
Yeah.
true.
Whereas like Below Deck Down Under season 1, I will say has the most interesting like workplace conflict of any Below Deck season.
Mm-hmm.
And part of what makes it so interesting is the fact that you not only have Captain and who's the
Bosun.
bosun?
Greg or something.
Yeah, Captain and the bosun were fighting. Like
Mm-hmm.
we're not seeing eye to eye. Oh, his name was Nico, right? Or no?
No.
Nico's the one. Wait, I don't know. I don't remember. But
Jamie.
Jamie, yeah, cop.
Wow.
Ooh. Anyway,
Jeez.
so Jamie and the captain are at odds, and Ryan and Aisha are at odds.
The chef and the chief
Ryan the chef
stew.
and Chief Stew, but they work so closely together. Like both of those two people work closely together where it's like, okay, cool. Whereas like when Ashton and Kate were at each other's throats on like season 7, it was just
That was
personal.
terrible.
It was
Yeah.
first of all terrible and second of all purely personal because they don't really interact when it comes to work other than being
Yeah.
department heads. But even that, it's like you have to sit in a meeting with the captain for 30 minutes
Yeah,
every
exactly.
like every couple days. Like
Yeah.
um and so yeah. So a Ben and Alyssa conflict wouldn't even be that interesting. Um
Yeah. I do
but
wonder
I
what will
don't know.
happen.
I do think that something is gonna come of what's Homeboy's name? From Costa
Tony.
Rica, Tony. I feel like something is
Yeah.
gonna come of him not sleeping. Like they're making a big deal of that.
Yes, for sure. Or yeah, something about I don't know. I think if anything, if anyone decides to leave, he would be it
Oh yeah.
and go back to like an adventure
No,
boat or something.
when they showed him on like the boat, like he just didn't go to the club with everybody else and just came back to the
Literally.
boat.
He was tired. He was
No,
tired,
literally.
y'all.
Um, but yeah. Oh, and then when
Wow.
Fraser and Sandy had that kind of tense moment,
Yeah.
I do think
Awkward.
Fraser can be a really good chief stew. Um, he just needs a little bit more time.
Yeah. Like, cause
I
right
feel
now I feel like he's a really good worker, but the managing like
Yeah, he's still
of people
finding
and
his feet, which is
personalities.
very similar to
Yeah.
Aisha on
Yeah.
Down
That's true.
Under. Like
Yeah.
it's nice when they have people who are competent, like Aisha had Toomey, and Fraser has Alyssa and Haley. And so like he's
Hmm.
good with managing those, but it's like people like Camille who like
Yeah.
which it kind of makes you surprised at how like it kind of makes you do appreciate Kate, like people who like there are some Kate haters, but like
Yeah.
she did
To
make it through a whole
me.
season with Rocky
Literally.
and also like Kat and Amy, um, and like early Below Deck, and
Oh
then
my God.
got a couple other ones. Oh, that one girl, Jen, from like
Yeah.
season 5 or something. Although she was kind of like rude to Jen a lot of the time. Jen was also crazy, so
I know. Jen was crazy,
that was a
but what
weird
can you
season.
do? That was a crazy season, actually.
Um, but yeah,
That was with, wait, the other one, what was her name? Brielle or
Brie,
something?
Brie.
Brie. That
But
I
she had a romance with whom?
I'm a Nico hater.
Who's
Nico.
Nico? Oh, I'm a full Nico hater too.
He cheats, he cheats, he lies.
He
He's a
cheats, he lies.
scoundrel.
Was he on 2 seasons?
Yes.
Yeah, because he was always trying to. Oh, because I had it. They had a marathon yesterday, and I thought it was just they were showing like season 10, which like I'm caught up on, and so it's just like. But then they were showing like season 4 episodes, and I was like, ooh, I can drop in for a little bit of this. And I believe that was Nico's first season where he was really butting heads with Kelly.
Yeah. And then
Because they don't
maybe he
bring
was
Nico
on
back as
3.
bosun. They bring him back
Right.
as like lead
As lead
deckhand.
deckhand. So humiliating. And then in the reunion, okay, he ended up being bosun that season, like over time. And then in
Uh-huh.
the reunion, Captain was like, Captain Lee was like, yeah, I would revoke that if I could. And Nico was like, okay.
King.
Literally.
I do miss Captain Lee a little bit.
I
Like
know.
I'm loving Captain Sandy, and it's like a nice change of pace. But like I am missing Captain Lee.
I know. I love them both. So,
But yeah.
wow.
But Becca, what the hell else has been going on with you other than watching Below Deck? And you saw Megan last week.
Yes. Old
But
news to me. Well, today, actually, the day we're filming this,
mhm.
pull back the curtain a little bit.
Yes, it's a special day.
It is a special day. Do you have any guesses? It's the
Special
anniversary of
day.
something.
Oh, anniversary of something with Becca on January 17th.
Mm-hmm.
Diagnosis Day?
Yes!
Oh my
It's
god!
it's my diversity.
Yes!
Yeah, slay.
Happy
Everyone eat some ice
diversity!
cream. Yeah, so 5 years ago today, I lay in a hospital bed getting diagnosed.
After peeing everywhere and throwing up too for like a month.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's how it went. But yeah, and here we are, 5 years later.
Oh my
Crazy.
gosh.
My
Oh my
goodness gracious.
god.
It is
Well,
also friend of the show Tim's birthday.
yay, Tim. Oh my god. Our
Whoa.
Capricorn? Yeah, Capricorn King.
It is. It is Capricorn season, but it's about to be, and don't tell anyone I said this, it's about to be Aquarius season. Guys, I feel like some weirdness is gonna happen.
I feel like Aquarius season is good for me.
It's definitely a time of things.
Yes.
No stagnation. Things.
I love how you said that, and like it's definitely a time of things is so specific but also so unspecific at the same time. Like there's real duality in that phrasing.
No, yeah, I'm glad you get me. I'm glad
Yeah.
you get me. But yeah, all the planets are going back into prograde.
Okay.
So things, oh, there's been a lot of, maybe you notice, glitches just happening
Yeah,
recently.
I'm gonna talk about one later in the show.
Lovely. Well,
Hmm.
they're going to start not even fixing, just like glitching back to place.
A correction.
Yeah, you could say that. At work, and don't tell anyone I said this. We have buy online
Lucky no
pickup
one
in
listens to
store.
this.
Thank God, guys, keep it that way.
Keep this niche.
Niche talk. There was some buy online pickup in store orders or whatever that were completely missing from our thing, but they said that had been picked by someone. We look, and this girl in California somehow got assigned to our store, who works at a different Ulta, got assigned to our store and like picked all these orders for our store, but they're all
Oh.
the way out in California.
Oh no. Well, it's funny
The
you
heck?
say this because actually I ordered a bag because I'm gonna go out on the road again soon. And I ordered this new bag
Mm-hmm.
and I bought it from Everlane. I really like their bags and stuff. And they have really good because they like discontinue their stuff a lot. So if you go on there, you can find like really good deals because they're like, oh, final sale. And so I
Mm-hmm.
got my bag a couple days ago. I'm kind of obsessed with it. Come home today,
Lovely.
there's another box from Everlane. I'm like, what? Um, and I've ordered like three things from them at this point. I'm like, oh my god, did they like send me a gift? Like that would be kind of
Thank you, thank you.
because it wasn't like the same size box as I got the other day. And so I'm like, I open it.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally just another one of the bag.
And were you charged twice?
No, I was charged once on sale.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so now I just have another one of these bags.
No, something is going on.
No, it's interesting that you say that. And I literally had an experience, and I'll talk about my other experience. But
Ugh.
no, that was my other experience. So
There's been actually a freaky amount of coincidences lately.
well,
Like,
no such thing. It's like saying there's been a
ugh,
freaky amount of dragons
you're
lately.
you're so right. You're so right. Who do you think she is?
I thought she gives
I'm
manta
lying.
ray
She's a
vibes.
stingray, but
Yeah,
she is
stingray.
a dragon.
Oh, yes, she is. Yes, she is, that little girl.
Oh boy. Oh boy. I
Any
will
other
say
updates for your week? Okay, yeah.
I did another kind of a manifestation thing is I thought today out loud, I wonder when I'll hear from NYU about interviews. 6 p.m. tonight. Boom. Scheduling an interview. Slay. Slay.
Yay!
Slayful, actually. I think everyone has to get an interview. So,
I
but
would doubt that.
okay. I'll take you up on that.
Yeah. No.
I will choose to believe that. But yeah, it's very exciting and I'm gonna just look at it as a huge opportunity
A
to just
thousand
have
percent.
fun.
Yeah.
Have fun in that room and talk about clothes.
And
Yeah.
irregardlessly of whatever
Thank you.
NYU says, as an NYU reject myself,
We
as an NYU
have to
reject,
stay
I
strong.
will stand with you. Well, no, I won't stand with because I'm not like trying to invite you into the club by any means. I'm rooting for you on your journey every day of the week, but
Thank you.
I'm just saying, whatever they think about what you do is not at all indicative of your actual talents. So,
Oh, absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate that.
and you're really good at what you want to go there to do, irregardlessly of whether they
Oh,
one recognize that and B recognize it in a way where they're like, oh, come here to do it.
thanks, babe.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you so much. Well, I will honestly never give up on going there in some capacity, even if I have to Taylor Swift it. So be it.
they're gonna make us. They're gonna ask us one day.
I know it. I know it. My deepest truth.
Well, anything else to report, Becca, for this, at least?
I don't think so.
Okay, then we're gonna throw it to just a teensy weensy little break, and then we're gonna be back to get into today's topic.
Guys, I'm scared.
I'm just kidding. I wasn't scared at all, actually. So,
Perfect.
yeah. So, for today's topic, Becca and I have just decided to do something a little mundane and uncontroversial. We're tired of like the constant controversy around this show, right?
Exactly. Emails after emails after
Literally.
emails.
And we have to suppress all that actively. And so we're just gonna talk about politics because that's just a nice little thing everyone can agree on and
Yep.
just,
No
you
one has ever
know,
fought over that ever.
no, literally, and it's like fine. It's fine.
Famously. Yeah.
But no, today we're gonna talk a little bit about politics. I assume our conversation will go towards there, but not like we're not like doing like an issues podcast. We're not talking about like the debt ceiling or anything like that.
No, just like
Um,
general.
no, because today I thought it would be fun to take the political compass test and the 8 values test, which are basically tests
Yes.
of like your political ideology.
Mm-hmm.
And so the political compass is a test that's been on the internet since 2001, which was surprising. And it gives you basically a bunch of statements to agree or disagree with. It's very similar to a personality test,
Yeah.
and that they're kind of vague and like intentionally so. But at the end of the quiz, you get a point on the grid showing where you are on 2 different axes. One axis is like authoritarian to libertarian, which are like kind of more theories of governing because then there are like certain offsets, but like authoritarian
Yeah.
basically means like one person controls everything, whether that's like a
Mm-hmm.
state, a company, whatever. And then libertarian means that it's like everybody's kind of
Free.
free and there's not really
Yeah.
like, well, I wonder what, because that sounds a little bit more like anarchism, but I don't know. But libertarian is just like there's a lot more liberties for people basically.
Yeah. Like
um
individuals.
or there's no like centralized no, libertarian is that there's no centralized force really like governing like a normalizing set of rules for people.
Yeah.
So like extreme libertarianism is like not having any government and everybody just kind of like existing,
Yeah.
whereas like
Like Divergent.
authoritarianism, yes, yeah,
Well, not at all,
well,
actually.
almost not at all,
Haven't
but
read the books in a
anyway.
nearly. So close.
But
So
yeah, and
close.
then it also the other axis is the economic like right wing and left wing.
Your
Um,
classic mom and dad, mom and pop, left and right.
yeah, literally. But yeah, and then the eight values is, and this comes from their website. Eight values is in essence a political quiz that attempts to assign percentages for eight different political values. And so they have four axes. Economic, which is equality versus markets. So whether wealth should be spread around like intentionally to people in an equal way, or whether we should just let the markets decide where the money goes. Diplomatic, which is nation versus globe. So are you more like nationalistic or globalist in your like scope kind of? Civil, which is liberty. So like people should have like extreme civil liberty, like people should basically be free to do anything, is like extreme liberty. And then versus authority, which means that like the law has to like crack down on things basically. And then society, tradition versus progress. So are you interested in keeping a traditional society because that's how we've always done things, or do you want to progress for like progression's sake? I guess would be the ultimate, not like progressing for any cause, but like progress for progress's sake.
Yeah.
Should be avoided. To quote Miss Umbridge.
Oh, that girl.
Yeah. And so Becca, I'm
Little
actually
girl.
so fascinated to do this with you because I have you ever heard of either of these?
Yeah.
Okay, where?
I had taken them in the past, but I never saved my results. And I feel like I haven't taken it in a while, so this was fun to do.
Yeah, I think I first took it either like sophomore or junior year of high school. And I wish I had my results from then because it would be kind of
Mine would
interesting to
be so
see
different.
the differences.
Yeah.
But yeah. Uh So we can start with the political compass. It is actually interesting though, because
Yeah.
I took both of them in August. And so it was interesting to
Oh,
see.
for fun.
Yeah. I just like in August one day. It was actually the day I went to see
Nice.
the Muna concert randomly. It was the same day that I went to see Muna. I took the
That makes
political
sense,
I took these
actually.
tests earlier in the day. So I will be comparing the results a little bit. But I have
Lovely.
a hard time spelling the word political. I put them in an album so I could find them, and it says
You do have a
political,
hard time. The
political,
outline is
rife with
polit.
rife with spelling errors. Anyway, I do listen to this
That
podcast,
is
and
so funny. Poltical.
no, I forget what I was looking up, but like I've been struggling to spell political for like, oh, because I kept looking
It's
up.
just one of those
Honestly,
words.
whoever made the feature on iPhone where you can search a word in an image and it brings up that image, you deserve to get your pussy ate so hard. Cause like I'll remember
Wait, what
memes.
feature?
Like you can slide up on your phone, and if you put the word political into your phone, because you have a screenshot of your political compass on your Photos app, I'm assuming,
Uh-huh.
it will bring it up because it says political in the photo. But anyway, Becca, I would love to
Yeah.
know your political compass coordinates.
Okay.
So economic
Yes.
left, right. What are your
I am negative 7.38
okay?
and social libertarian authoritarian. I am negative 6.72.
Interesting.
I gotta know, Quinn. What are you?
I on economics, I'm a negative 8.38. And
Okay.
on social libertarian versus authoritarian, I am a negative 7.85.
Nice.
So Becca and I are both in this green
Mar
quadrant,
yeah.
which is the libertarian left. Oh,
Okay.
you're way too bright, girl.
She
Um,
gotta calm down. Um,
so yeah.
we're both in the Marxism bubble, though, generally.
Yes. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Surprise, surprise, surprise,
Surprise, surprise,
surprise.
guys. And it was funny. I when I compared it to my August results, I literally got the exact same thing in social, so I got a negative 7.85.
Oh,
And economics, I got a negative 8.5. So I have moved to the right by
wow.
a factor of 1/10. economically speaking, in the past 4 months. So
Wow.
you're losing me, guys.
Wonder what
But anyway,
happened.
yeah.
Listen to more
Um,
Luna.
so that's where we stand on the political compass. And I want to know about your 8 values, because my 8 values did change a little bit more than my political compass from when I last took it.
Okay. So, all right. So for the economic axis, I had a 90.4% for equality, making me a communist.
Okay.
Surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise. I'm a communist.
Eh.
Wow. On the diplomatic axis, I was internationalist with an 80% globe, civil, liberal with a 71.9% liberty,
Mm-hmm.
societal axis, very progressive with an 81.6% progress.
And what was your closest match?
Libertarian socialism.
Interesting.
What about
So
you?
on economic, I was also deemed a communist at 91%.
Mm, yeah.
Equality versus 9% markets, I suppose. Diplomatic access, I was an internationalist with 76.7%. Civil access, libertarian with 78.9%. And societal access, very progressive with an 86.7%. And I
Mm.
got libertarian communism this time because
Oh.
I usually get libertarian socialism. The couple times I've taken this, I feel like I've gotten libertarian socialism. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I'm kind of moved. I kind of became all my things increased from the last time I took it. Um,
Interesting.
so yeah, so now I'm a libertarian communist. So
Love that.
yeah,
I hope to be that one day.
literally.
Uh,
Um, so yeah, it is really it's kind of
interesting.
interesting hearing our feels like we matched up better on I guess we matched we think pretty similarly on things generally. It would seem like
Yeah.
from this quiz or from these tests. So like concerning the questions, like were there any
Mm-hmm.
questions from either of the tests that kind of like stood out to you?
The one I think was on the political compass that was like astrology is real and affects my life.
Yeah, that was a hard one for us to go
It
through.
was very personal. I'm like, does that make me a communist? That I believe in astrology? I mean, fair enough. Good
Yeah.
on them. Good on them. They know what I want to hear.
Well, that is an interesting thing about the questions because that was one of the questions I picked out that was kind of like I feel like this could change depending on the wording.
Right.
Like it's weird because like you know what they're trying to get to. Like
Yeah.
they're trying to gauge your like comfortability with like astrology as a concept.
Yeah.
Um, but like, do I believe astrology is like do I ultimately believe astrology is like why things happen? No.
No.
So I personally hit I think I put disagree when I took it this time. But like, do I think astrology is an interesting way to look at the way things are happening and
Mm-hmm.
like examine your life a little bit? I
Right.
do, and that's why I enjoy astrology. It's a different perspective on what's going on in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which I guess maybe I might be contradicting myself by saying that, but it was just that was one of the like kind of trickier questions.
Yeah. I mean, I like that the 8 values quiz has like the neutral slash like
Hmm.
don't know
Yeah.
option because so many questions I'm like, now let's dive into that
No, yeah,
actually.
some of them need so much more
More
context
context,
for me
literally
to
like
be able to like for me to
put
be
my
able
foot
to
down on one
yes,
of
yeah.
those. Yeah.
I would need like a lot more context. Um
Yeah.
and it was because while I was like kind of searching around, I found this one article that was kind of very critical of them by
Mm-hmm.
Rachel Green. Spectrum tests like 8 values tell you nothing useful about your politics.
Okay, fair enough.
And it was really interesting because she had a lot of interest, like she was picking out certain points. Like one of the questions on 8 values was society was better many years ago than it is now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and she says in the article, how many years ago, which society, for whom? If you're in
Yeah.
Afghanistan, you might say, yeah, things were better before the invasion when we weren't in constant fear of drone attacks. If you're a Native American in the United States, you might say, yeah, things were way better before colonization.
Fair points, all of them actually.
But it's like her argument is basically like that a lot of the questions on both, and she mentions 8 values and political compass in particular, is it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like Becca and I, who are people who are both like on the left of American politics, like
Mm-hmm.
economically, and then progressive socially as well. We kind of, there's a certain degree to which we know how we're supposed to respond to each of the questions.
Yeah.
Like there's that one Karl Marx, the famous
The
Karl Marx
quote.
quote
Yeah.
where from each his ability to each his need or something along those
Yeah.
lines. I always have to look it up because I'm like I looked it up because I was like I know like that because like I ultimately do understand what it means, but like I'm like 3 to 5 more times away from like of like reading it to like actually like understanding it. Um,
Yeah.
but
It's about equity basically, but
yes,
like it's literally a Karl Marx quote. So when it's saying like, do you agree with this? It's like asking like, do you are you Marxist?
are
Like,
you willing to
do you
politically
agree?
identify with Karl Marx?
I dare you. I fucking dare you.
Which
And we
like
did.
who like Karl Marx, especially in like a recent context, has become like the boogeyman of like the US right.
Yeah.
Like the right wing economic. He is a boogeyman of right wing economics everywhere, really.
Like
But
guys, he died. He can't hurt you anymore.
literally. But
We can though.
my copy of the Communist Manifesto back there can though.
I actually
Um
got I secured Grimes's copy, weird enough.
oh my god, look at that.
So lucky, so lucky.
Oh my god, when she staged that photo shoot, that's crazy. So yeah,
uh
she's basically like so like in the context of like society was better now than many years ago, was better many years ago than it is now. I think for this
right.
one, I think this one was one of the ones I put like neutral.
Yeah, I think I did too. Because I was like, as a woman, maybe, but also like not really.
Um,
And
but also there are
like
ways you can like
generally, like, yeah, I don't know.
yeah.
It's
Like
just like,
literally like this time last year, your right to like abortion was way more secure than it is now. So
yeah, yeah.
like if you're looking at it that way. But then again, it's like ultimately like that's kind of one of the issues with taking quizzes like this, even though they are like I think our show is fun and frivolous, and so we do fun and frivolous things on here. So it's like,
Hmm.
you know, we're supposed to be like we don't necessarily care that like, oh, it's calling me a libertarian communist. Like I don't really have to do anything with that label.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
what
I
that
can
test thinks I am.
probably in 3 weeks I'll forget. It's
Yeah.
fine.
And I'll like scroll past this on my phone and be like, oh my God.
Yeah. Oh,
Um, but um, yeah. And
it makes me wonder like if a like verbal like a discussion based assessment would yield the same results. You
yeah.
know, someone should do that.
Yeah, well, usually people are like, I think I think people are heterodoxical in a way that um this this test doesn't really highlight
Mm,
because it just gives you a point, right? Like it gives you a singular
yeah,
point and saying like this is where your politics are, but like it doesn't show your answers. Because
yeah,
like if you answer like every question like we did, and then we said like if Becca and I answered this test like the same way, but like
mm-hmm,
let's say I was like in a fantasy world, I'm like pro-life or something, or like I'm anti-abortion, I should say. Like
right,
I don't agree with abortion, and I'm like staunchly anti-abortion, but like still like left otherwise. Like
right,
I probably wouldn't be like that far to the right of like Becca.
yeah,
Um,
No,
especially because Becca
it's
was a little bit
interesting.
more kind of rightward in terms of like this test. Um,
Mhm.
but so like that's a big thing where it's like, you know, if I said like, oh, I'm just anti-abortion, like that would give people a certain like if I said just that and nothing else about my political beliefs, people would be like, oh, that's, you know, it would definitely signal something very
Yeah.
specific that might not be
Yeah.
true.
Good point.
But yeah, I find that like a lot of people are there are a lot of people who are heterodoxical, and it doesn't really like, especially in the way we have our current political system set up, it's not really like um uh people are like the media, especially like legacy media, isn't like comfortable with that. So
Yeah.
like a lot of the stuff with like a great example of this is Hunter Biden laptop, like the Hunter Biden laptop. Or an even better
Hmm.
example is like how both Donald Trump and Joe Biden have been found to be in possession of classified documents
Yeah.
recently, and like the different ways in which different types of media and different elected representatives reacted differently to those two instances. So like
Hmm.
generally Republican media, when Trump was being like when Mar-a-Lago was being like raided for documents,
Classified documents. Yeah.
yeah, like Republican officials were like, oh my God, this is a witch hunt.
Hmm.
um like this is crazy, and Democrats were like, okay, yeah, you're a
Slay on.
criminal, slay on. But now Joe Biden has pretty much done the same thing.
Hmm.
Is cooperating a little bit more, like doesn't seem to be hiding it as much as Trump was.
Yeah.
And now it's people being like, oh my God, well, Joe Biden isn't the same thing because people on the left being Joe Biden isn't the same thing because, and then there are people on the right who are like, oh, leave Trump alone, that are now like want to launch investigations into Joe Biden
Joe
for doing the
Byron.
same thing. Yeah. Um,
Literally.
and so like I guess that's not being ideologically consistent as opposed to being like heterodoxical, really. But like,
Hmm.
but that is kind of what people want you to be like. They want you to kind of like cape for your side a little bit. Whereas like,
Literally.
yeah.
It was so in 2016, I was
Mhm.
so like, let's go, Democrats. Oh my God.
Yes, Hillary.
And then like
I literally have this button on my beanboard right behind me in the studio.
no, fully I like hashtagged I'm still with her.
Still with
Like
her.
I like popped it out on Twitter. And then a year later I was like, oh my dear God.
Yeah. No, I literally did one of those services where they go back and delete your tweets because specifically my tweets about like politics from like high school, I'm so embarrassed
can't
by.
can't be seen actually.
Yeah, like
Yeah. Yeah.
um but it's also this weird thing where like certain notable like people get like tweets thrown in their face from like it could be like a tweet from like, and this is going into like starting to see where it like intersects with cancel culture. Like somebody could tweet
Hmm.
something literally like 10 years ago and people will bring it back and be like, "Oh my God, but you said this 10 years ago." And it's like, "Yeah, that was 10 years ago."
Yeah. I don't even remember the name of my closest friends. How could I remember tweeting that?
Yeah.
Gonna
And
be
Becca
my
was doing her
defense.
best Quinn impression there. But
That is what I was doing. That is what I was doing. Ah,
one
ah.
person who's never gotten like clapped by their old tweets is Megan the Stallion. Like whenever an old tweet by Megan the Stallion circulates, it's just like a funny thing. Like
I
she's
love
talking about like
her.
loving Lady Gaga or something. Like
She can't be touched. She
no,
can't be
Megan is one of our
touched.
perfect celebrities, I feel.
I feel that as well. Not everyone would believe that though.
Yeah. A lot of people are
A
Team
lot of people are
Tory.
actually, it literally makes me sick to my stomach.
I know. Y'all
Oh
are
my
brain dead.
God.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Um,
Moving
but
on.
anyway, another really good point that this article brought up that I quoted a little bit earlier is that sometimes it makes mutually exclusive statements out of things that aren't mutually exclusive.
Mm.
So like another example of that is in Eight Values, one of the questions is, it is better to maintain a balanced budget than to ensure welfare for all citizens. Um
Yeah. Uh, guys.
and like I think for this one I did like affirmatively, like, I think I maybe hit like strongly agree for this one probably because like in like a utilitarian way, would I rather
Mhm.
have a balanced national budget or would I rather have welfare insured for everybody? I would
Mhm.
rather have welfare. Or I hit
Right.
strongly disagree on this one. Sorry.
Yeah.
Um like I think welfare is more important than like having balancing a budget. But like the author
Yeah.
of this article points out that like those two things aren't ultimately mutually exclusive. Like there is a way to do both of them.
Yeah. Yeah, you can have uh, I would even dare to say a true balanced budget would include extensive welfare.
Yes. Yeah. I might as
Wow.
well.
So yeah, that one was weird. There was a few other ones like that, you're right, where it was like, okay, I
There's
don't
a
know why you're making me
different
choose.
there's a different version of 8 values called 9 axes. And the question that she posted on here from that is truly insane. One of the questions is just those who do not work should die.
No, but why would like your Uncle Joe take that and be like, yeah, I
That's like
agree.
a question of like, are you like that's a question orienting like if you're sane or not. Like
Yeah. You press yes, the quiz just starts beeping and sends you to a mental health hotline. Hotline.
literally
You have to jump until they say stop.
a fate literally worse than death. So yeah, these tests aren't like perfect by any means, but I do believe that they're a fun way to kind of just like, it's like a personality test or even like astrology. Like it explains like certain things, but
Yeah.
like not everything.
Yeah. And it doesn't
Um,
have to define you.
yeah, no.
Yeah.
Like
You just have fun with it.
I probably wouldn't like I just have a problem with like political identity in like I have a problem with like and I hate talking about like like scrutiny of labels now because like not being labeled is so popular that, like straight people are doing it now. Like
Yeah.
it's just like
It's looped back around in a
but
nasty
anyway,
way.
before Harry Styles wasn't a big fan of labels, I was not a big fan of labels.
Hmm.
And so like I would never like it's weird to be like I don't think I would ever feel fully comfortable saying like, oh, I'm a communist or oh, I'm a socialist or
Okay.
like that kind of thing. Um,
Yeah.
especially like in like the ideology because also like it's such a hard thing because like and even bringing capitalism into it, like it's hard to say that like oh, a capitalist is this, a socialist is this, a communist is this, especially when so many different like regimes, institutions, countries, whatever you want to call it, have had their own version of something
Right.
they called capitalism, socialism, or
Yeah.
communism
Yeah. Hmm.
versus like what those ideologies actually are like in a theoretical way.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
yeah. But kind of moving away from the tests, um,
Hmm.
Becca, I feel like we talked about mine a little bit more extensively in when we did the interviews.
Ah,
Um,
yes.
but I want to talk about kind of your political development, political awakening, stuff like that. So like, do you have any like significant events that were like political awakenings or like where do you think your kind of political consciousness kind of mostly comes from?
Great question. I mean, so 2016 was a big one
Mm-hmm.
because yeah, I was like, why am I so devastated that this man is our president
Mm-hmm.
and that, and
Yeah.
like, I mean, it's very, I was raised by like a independent, like politically independent mom.
Uh-huh.
Um, I ignore my dad's politics. I have to,
King.
like so many other American women. Um, and I think honestly, like reading stuff on my own,
Doing your own
Hasanabi, doing
research.
your own research, and then also just listening to Hasanabi for hours.
Mm-hmm.
It will do so many things to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I then like late high school was just so like yeah, I felt so radicalized. I mean like for America, like I'm sure that like my dad would call me radical,
Oh yeah.
but like
Which
in
like
the
for America we are especially radical. But also I
yeah,
feel like many more people in America are thinking
like we
like
are now, I think.
yes.
Yeah, we're
Because our
like
political system has like radicalized people.
yes, like either way, which is really bad.
Yes. Mm.
We're on all the corners of the compass.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I think just like it's just who I am. There is like a sort of innateness because I don't feel like I was really like affected by like my surroundings or like people in my life. Like
Hmm.
I don't know, a lot of people just go with what their parents think or like
Yeah.
stuff like that. I feel like social media and having access to like before every single like news source had paywalls. I was able to read
That
things
is one of the most annoying things now because like
for
every time you
free.
want to read an article, it's like you can't even.
Literally, knowledge is not free anymore. I know nothing anymore, guys.
And then
Let
literally
me
even when you
in.
I keep trying to do the trick of like, oh, go into an incognito window, but that doesn't even work anymore.
No, they got me.
They've gotten too smart.
They said cuffs, hands up.
Woo
Woo,
woo
woo, woo, woo. Not again.
woo.
Yeah, I think it's just within me that I've always been very empathetic and I feel like that does
Hmm.
um inform my politics
Yeah.
is just like caring about people.
Hmm.
Yeah. And I've kind of gleaned the same from you.
Yeah. I think the thing that really, which I talked about in the interview episode, but like the thing that really kind of um was like my political awakening was the killing of Trayvon Martin. Like that I remember
Right?
that like being a huge thing for me because like I just could not understand how that like happened and like everybody
Mm-hmm.
wasn't like freaking out about it. And some people
Yeah.
were even like, "Oh, he like deserved to die because he was like walking like with his hood up."
Yeah.
like like
Like
like some people,
ridiculous.
yeah, some people were just utterly ridiculous and still to this day some people are utterly ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
George Zimmerman is one of the most evil people who's ever walked the earth. Like the way he's
Mm-hmm.
like at one point he like sold like he had like the gun that he used in the crime like up for auction. Um
Uh,
and it's like he's one of the most like ew.
that's
But anyway.
disgusting.
Um so yeah, that was kind of the thing. That kind of kicked me off more socially.
Mm-hmm.
I would say. So that got me more aware of like social issues. And then like you said, being on YouTube, really kind of informed all that stuff for me. But I
Yeah.
basically just believe that like everybody's kind of inherently equal
Yeah.
and that some of us get really lucky. Um,
Yep.
where like we're born into a certain lot in life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and my ultimate political goal, or one of them at least, is that like luck won't have as much to do with it in the future.
Yeah.
Um, that like this meritocracy, especially in America, like the idea of like the meritocracy, oh, work hard, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, do it, do it, do it.
Mm-hmm.
I hope one day that actually is true because that is a pretty good system. Like I feel like I feel like it's a fine system to be like, oh, if you want to work really hard to achieve like a certain amount of something, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But also like if you kind of just want to have like a okay life and
Soft
like
life. Yeah.
yeah, just don't really want to like do a bunch but still want to like, enjoy it.
Survive.
I think that should also be an option. Like if you don't want to
Yeah.
be like, you don't want to be like high powered financier or whatever, but you still want to have like a comfortable living. I feel like that should totally be within reach.
That should be
Um
valid. You
and
should be able to afford food.
yeah,
Yeah, for that.
but
Crazy concept, actually.
yeah,
Uh,
so that's kind of like, that's one of the things I'm passionate about in my own politics. Like
hmm
ideal society for me is that there's like a floor and that like you can't fall below that floor and that floor is like ultimately a good like lifestyle and a good way to live.
Yeah.
And then if
Yeah.
you want to work up, you can do that, but not so much that you become like inordinately wealthy to the point where you like can literally suppress other people
Yeah.
with your
Yeah.
wealth.
Absolutely.
Um, and so yeah, and then the economic kind of part, I actually got really into this show called Rising, which is on YouTube and is on from the publication The Hill. It has
Okay.
these two it used to have these two hosts, Crystal Ball and Sagar and Jetty. And it's interesting because they're like populist, but one's like a left-wing populist and one's a right-wing populist. And I forget how I found their shows. A lot of their clips would go viral. And so I must have found one of them that way.
Mm-hmm.
And like when I first watched their show, I was like, I remember being really like interested and like kind of almost angry by some of the things they
Mm-hmm.
said because I was like, oh my God, I can't believe they like think this and like, oh, this one's supposed to be like left wing and oh, this one's supposed to, but then I would be like, oh, this one's supposed to be right wing. But then he said something like this that I really agree with. And it's like, it's interesting give and take. And like, they're both kind of like, they're both kind of more like heterodoxical. And so that was kind of the first time I like heard people with like different views than me like on like a legit like media outlet that were kind of like heterodoxical, and like
Okay.
they were like left and right wing, but they agreed on things that were like actually good and not just like, you know, like military spending, which is like something that like left wing and right wing politicians agree with
Literally,
in our
yeah.
country.
Mm-hmm.
And like just giving way more and more money to the military. And so and then eventually they went independent and started their
Hmm.
own thing called Breaking Points, which is a good show. I like it. And it's interesting because I enjoy how they report the news. I don't agree with them on like 100% of everything. I definitely agree more with Crystal because she's more like on the left,
Gotcha.
like traditionally. But like it's interesting because it has given me a new, I feel like I used to be much more adversarial, and I still do fear I'm a little adversarial when talking about politics just because like I feel like I get excited more than like adversarial when I talk about politics because like I find that some people don't know a lot about it. Like it sometimes I like to test people a little bit. Or not
Mm-hmm.
like I'm not intentionally doing it, but like if people want to talk about politics, I'm like, "Oh, let me like, you know, let me gauge how much they know." And then
Feel the
like
room, yeah.
yeah. And then if it's like not as much as me, I get kind of disinterested, but then if people are willing to like go there, I'm like, "Oh, blah, 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 blah,
Right.
blah."
Yeah. Intellectual
And
game of
but yeah.
sorts.
And but listening to their show has definitely given me greater understanding of like the different things people think. And even if I don't agree with people, like I can understand why they think. Like
Mm-hmm.
in 2016, like I would be like, oh, if you voted for Trump, you're a bad person. I don't like you. I don't see how you could ever do something like that. Whereas like
Mm-hmm.
2023 Quinn, I am much more understanding of why, of like the circumstances that led people to like vote for Donald Trump for president,
Gotcha.
if that makes
Yeah.
sense. Like I still
Yeah.
don't agree with it, and I still
Agree
don't
with
think it's
them.
like, yeah, I wouldn't do it myself. I
Yeah.
didn't do it myself when I was presented with the opportunity. Um, but I can also understand how somebody with a different life experience than me and somebody with, you know, different opinions than me comes to a different conclusion about things.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that the way I do things has to be the way that everything is done, or the way I
Mm.
would like to see everything be done doesn't have to be the way that things have to be done all the time.
It's very mature.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
I will say that is a thing, much like everything else, that kind of goes back and forth. Like sometimes I'm like, Kumbaya, my lord. And other times I'm like, oh my God, these people.
You dumb idiots. You
Like, have you
dumb
seen the thing
stupid
about the
heads.
gas? Have you seen the thing about gas stoves this week?
No.
I just got caught up on it because I saw like some things peripherally and then I watched like an actual thing on it. But all these studies have come out that basically say having gas stoves in your house is like really bad for you.
Because they
Um,
could explode.
well, that, and
Okay.
like apparently there's just not like they're not as good as like not leaking gas as like they should be
It's another
basically. And
okay.
so like one study projects that something like 12% of like childhood asthma is caused by like
Gas
having
stoves.
gas ranges in your house.
Oh wow.
People also think it might be like tied to like cancer rates, or some of the studies were showing that. I didn't get too deep into it, apologies, but like it was basically like there are basically studies coming out that is showing that like having a gas stove in your house may have adverse health impacts. Which, like, when you
Yeah.
think about it, if you have something like literally pumping gas out,
Yeah, it's not great.
especially something as like intimate as cooking, where you're like standing over something and like
Yeah.
if there's
And in
gas
it
coming
and
out,
you're
then you're
it.
literally like breathing in it. Like that's not
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
But then it became this thing where like, and then there were rumblings of like, oh, maybe the government will try to like ban gas stoves or try to like, I think the language was ban gas stoves, which like generally Americans don't
Mm-hmm.
like when you like outright ban things.
Right. They get pissed.
Yeah, they get kind of pissed.
Pissed.
You kind of have to be a little bit more, you have to be smarter about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because shit like this happens where people on the right like took it up as like a culture war. And
Mm-hmm.
so all these right-wing politicians were like, "Oh my God, they won't take our gas stoves away," and all this stuff, all this stuff, all this stuff. And it was
Bro.
is this like, do we really have to fight about like gas
Gas
stoves?
stoves.
Like, is
Yeah.
a gas stove so intrinsic to your way of life? Like, I will admit,
Yeah.
I enjoyed having a gas stove in my apartment because I think because for me, I'm about efficiency
Mm-hmm.
sometimes when
And
it
they get
comes to
hot so
cooking, and
fast.
they get hot so fast, much faster
Yeah.
than electric stoves.
Right. Probably all that
But
gas.
if I, or even worse, a child that I like bring into the world and I'm responsible for, could get
Mm-hmm.
asthma from like being exposed to a gas stove, or like I could raise my chances of like having cancer at some point in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I
I'm
keep
gonna
that in my
skip out on
house? Yeah,
that.
I'm gonna skip out on that. If
Yeah.
especially because like electric stoves, I listened to somebody and he was like, it would be different if there was something that if there wasn't like something that did the exact same thing.
Yeah. That is arguably more popular right now
Oh,
to have.
1,000%. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's only like specific places that still even like have gas stoves, but like in
All
my
of
house,
Pittsburgh.
I didn't have gas. Did you have gas in your apartment?
Yeah, in Pittsburgh.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Um, like my house has an electric stove.
Yeah, me too. My house.
Yeah. So,
Fair
um,
enough.
but it's just like, and that's just like American politics, like some like dumb shit like that can like
Mm-hmm.
gain traction.
Start.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Be a thing.
but yeah. And then there are some times where like another question I kind of responded to on Sure on 8 Values is like, oh, my country is like better than other countries, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I think I disagreed with that. Just like thinking in a
Mm-hmm.
like for my politics, right?
Yes.
So
Mm-hmm.
like,
Yeah. Yeah, like
not as far
ultimately
as like
like
privilege or anything like that. Cause like, there are privileges I have, but
uh
also in comparison, like,
and like rights I have. Like
yeah.
for me personally, I wanted to bring this up in the catch up, but something I fell into one of my little holes this week, my little interest holes.
Mm-hmm.
And I did like a deep dive on North Korea. Like what's it like what it's like to live in North Korea.
Yeah.
And I also went deep into like North Korean tourism and like I didn't know that people were like there's a lot of tourism in North Korea.
Yeah, you can go.
Like you can what we can't as Americans because somebody
Right.
went and then they came back in a vegetative state. And North Korea was just like, "Oh my God, how'd that happen?"
Do you guys see that? That was weird.
That was
That
really
was
weird.
weird.
But like um anyway,
I read
yeah,
a
but
book
like
by a uh
Defector.
yes.
Ooh.
Um it's it is so difficult to hear about
Oh, 1,000%.
and
Oh,
read.
it's
Oh
a
my
completely
goodness.
like
Yeah.
I watched this guy who was from New Zealand, so I'm already invested.
Yeah, of
And
course.
he did one of the tour. First of all, you can only go there with like a guided tour where
Mm-hmm.
you're basically in the like eyesight of a North Korean tour guide the whole time, like
Mm-hmm.
as a Westerner. I believe
Right.
like a lot of Chinese people go there because it's like so close. I believe Chinese people have a little bit more like, because geopolitically, North Korea and China are closer allies than North Korea is to anybody in the West, basically.
Yeah.
But anyways, but it's like you're watched the whole time. Like he talked a lot about feeling like he was watched and like he like couldn't really
Yeah.
have a moment to himself really unless he was in his hotel room. But like you can't just
Mhm.
like explore. Like if you're in Pyongyang, which is the capital of North Korea, like you can't just like walk around
Right.
by
Yeah, no,
yourself.
it's not chill vibes. It is not chill
No, not
vibes.
at all. Not at all, actually. And then, like, if you go, like, Pyongyang is like kind of looks like a modern city, but then he like had footage from like the countryside, like his tour went into the countryside and stuff, and he was talking about how it was literally like stepping back in time because like
Yeah.
outside, like things aren't really updated, and it's like
Yeah.
very like stuck in a certain era. Like he showed videos of like cows pulling plows, like people like plowing their farms with cows, like
Yeah.
pulling the tractors basically.
Yeah. It is very it's crazy. And dude, do you remember the movie The Interview?
Oh my God, yeah, that whole how Jonah
That was
Hill,
crazy.
or no, that wasn't Jonah Hill, that was
James Franco
James
and
Franco
Seth
and
Rogen.
Seth. Oh yeah, they caused like a whole international incident.
Yeah, it was like bad.
Yeah, no.
Like, oh my God. Why did we mess around with that?
And the movie sucked. The movie sucked, quite frankly. Like, could you imagine if the world ended over that?
No, yeah, it would not be worth it at all.
Literally.
I can't believe
Um,
they still let it come out even a little bit.
yeah, I that was such a specific weird thing that happened.
Yeah. Oh
But
my God.
yeah, but like obviously, like it was a time where I'm watching that and I'm like, okay, like I'll go on the record and say I am grateful that I live in America rather than like,
Yeah, North
and
Korea.
you do take some of it for granted. Like I take for granted that I could like log on to twitter.com right now and talk about how much I
Yeah.
hate Joe Biden or how much I hate Donald Trump or how much I hate Hillary Clinton or
Yeah.
how much I hate Obama or whoever, and I
Yeah.
could like that won't have any like repercussions on me. I can tweet out that those dumb memes of Barack Obama listening to American Teenager by Ethel Cain, and
Yeah.
like nobody
And
like nobody can do anything basically.
yeah, except for
Um,
me, I'll retweet
yeah.
it. Exactly.
Well, people
So
can do
yeah.
things. It's just I don't have a platform where I'm like significant enough to do something. But like,
Mm.
you know, um,
Yeah.
but like even the people who do end up like facing repercussions for like even people who do end up facing certain repercussions for certain things in our country, they are not punished as harshly as those in North
Right.
Korea as frequently because there are some like outstanding cases like someone like Edward Snowden or somebody like Julian Assange who are people who are literally living outside the US because like the US government like wants
Want
them.
some.
Yes.
Yeah.
um and so like that, but like it's not that like everybody's a Julian Assange. And it's not like, you know, and again, it's like a nuanced conversation because as I'm saying it, like I'm like walking back certain things because like there are certainly shady things that the US does, and there
Hmm.
are certainly things about the US that we hide and stuff like that, and like crazy stuff has happened that's so like bonkers and like inhumane that we probably don't even know about, but like
Hmm.
it's still not to like the scale and as normalized as it is to like North Korea and stuff. Like there's like we are undoubtedly a freer nation,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like for that I'm grateful.
No doubt.
Like I'd rather live here than North Korea.
Yeah. No doubt. No doubt. I did think of something that was really influential to me in my
Hmm.
politics, and that was the documentary Cowspiracy.
I'm not
All
familiar.
it's about climate change
Oh.
and environmental racism,
Hmm.
and that I watched in 2017, and I was like, "Oh
Hmm.
fuck." Like I got so mad and
This is so
serious about
fucked
climate
up.
change. This is so fucked up. I got like, yeah, I was like, a fire was under my little booty about like, guys, what do we do about
Hmm.
climate change? Oh my God.
Yeah,
And yeah, I care very much about the environment. And
1000%.
oh gosh, I'm so scared of still to this day actually.
No,
Um,
there's only
what
more reason to be
policies?
scared.
Yeah. Yeah. It's bad.
Yeah.
It's real bad. Um, so yeah, that is something I care a lot about.
Hmm.
And No
And
American policy is ever gonna really do anything about it, I feel, unless a lot changes real fast. So
mhm.
we're gonna have to count on s- uh, other nations, I feel.
We're gonna have to ask those girls about it. But
Yeah,
that's another place in American life where it's kind of just like a consensus of like not to do it. Like climate change,
literally.
perhaps more than anything else in our like transnationally, like globally, climate change more than
Hmm.
anything else is something we need like such radical change on like pretty quickly.
Yeah,
But like even the people who are like so-called environmentalists who are like elected representatives, like most of them are like, okay, well, we just have to make these like short change. Like everybody make sure you turn your lights off when you leave a room and
yeah, literally.
try to only take 5-minute showers. And
Literally.
carpool.
Oh, girls, carpool, reusable water bottles. You can all match. And they're
Yeah,
like,
but
but
like
we are gonna dump oil in the ocean. Y'all okay with
yeah.
that? Y'all
Yeah.
okay with
Hmm.
that?
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
and again, like that's like yeah. And so that is why like some people like that's another issue that's kind of like in an American context is kind of agreed upon between Republicans and Democrats, like ultimately not doing anything transformative about the environment, but like
Hmm.
something transformative does need to be done at some
Yeah.
point.
Fracking.
Fracking, guys.
Something we can all agree on.
RuPaul, where you at, girl?
Come on, frack.
Ru, where are you? Where are you in the audience? Show me where you are. Raise your hand.
uh,
Um,
exactly.
but yeah, that's also the thing of like that's something also like being like a fan of somebody's politics is also hard because it's like then they like say something you don't agree with and you're like,
Yeah.
or like
Yeah.
celebrities, like I've just stopped like being interested in what like celebrities I like have to say about politics.
Yeah, because probably I'm not gonna love it in some way. So let's
I
just
feel like
avoid
there
the
was
heartbreak.
Yeah, I feel like there was something this week where I was like I under because like like most of the time it comes out and like I'm not at all shocked that like the person like
Yeah.
thinks that
Thinks a
way.
certain thing. Yeah.
Like, but then people are like, it's always interesting to me when people are like shocked, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm trying to think of it. Of course, I can't think of like a single example to contextualize what I mean. Um, like, I hate to say it, I feel like this might cause some consternation with Becca, but like somebody like Paris Hilton, like,
Yeah.
is
No,
somebody
it's
who does
okay.
not
It's
have
okay.
great politics, like,
Yeah.
voted for Trump. But
Yeah.
like I can understand, like not saying I agree, like I in no way agree or endorse it, but like I
Mm-hmm.
can understand why Paris Hilton would vote for Trump.
Yeah.
Like I can totally understand that as like a thing. Like I'm not under any like false notions of like who Paris Hilton is,
Yeah.
if
No.
that makes
And
sense.
neither is she, which is why she would do
Yeah.
something like that.
And like celebrities ultimately they're all like rich people. And so like when they say
At the
like
end of the day. Yeah.
dumb rich people shit, it's like, oh yeah,
Yeah. I forgot.
like
You're
they're
just some
rich.
guy.
Yeah, you're just
You're
some yeah, and also they're just people at the end of the day too. Like they're not
yeah.
like these paragons. It's like when people are like there's all this freak out over when Roe v. Wade was overturned, like Swifties were like, "Oh, it was when the opinion leaked. It was when the draft opinion leaked that like told us Roe v. Wade was going to get overturned."
Yeah.
Um like Taylor Swift didn't say anything, and like I heard somebody talking about it like when Roe v. Wade was eventually actually overturned, Taylor like put out a statement and somebody was like, "Oh my god, thank goodness she finally said something."
Like, did you not know how to feel before that? Like, why did she have to tell you what to think? Like, what?
Yeah, like why would you like why do you care? Like I like Taylor Swift. I don't care what she thinks about politics. Like as long as she doesn't think anything
Yeah.
like particularly like heinous.
Yeah. Or cruel
Because
or
it's also like
hateful.
you can't support um like you can't support like everything ever like nobody's gonna have the exact same politics as you.
Yeah.
Like there were questions on the quiz that Becca and I don't agree with, but like we're not gonna like kill each other over it. And the podcast,
No.
stop being friends. But like,
If anything, we'll hug about it.
yeah. And we'll say, babe,
babe. Love you.
Yeah.
You're so silly goofy.
And it's just all this like all this freak out after freak out after freak out. Yeah, I guess that's
Politics.
kind of our part of our conversation on politics. I feel like as with every conversation on politics, there ultimately isn't like resolution
An end
really,
point, yeah.
an end
How
point.
can we?
But
How can we?
it's a show of an indeterminate length, but you know. But anything anything else you want to say, Becca, about politics, about our conversation here today?
Um, I guess don't be scared.
Yeah.
Don't be scared to go learn things and to watch
Mhm.
Hasanabi.
Yeah, guys. But yeah, I would say don't be scared to have your ideas challenged.
Yes.
Be gentle with yourself and others when talking about this kind of stuff. It's hard.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you don't know about something, it's okay. Like something I've tried
Yeah.
to do recently when I'm like talking to people, I'll just be like, if they mention something, I'll be like, I don't know about that. Like, I don't know enough
Yeah.
about that. I would have to look into it.
Have to read up. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Exactly.
and yeah, just because you like disagree with people, like obviously, again, nuance. Like if somebody is just like terrible across the board, maybe you shouldn't be like friends with
Right.
them. But also like if people like don't agree with you in some things but agree with you in some things and like you like each other, just let it be what's
Mm-hmm.
gonna be. And like,
Yeah.
you're not like we get into like a lot of like there was a really crazy moment like during especially like the George Floyd stuff, or like the kind of renewed things around like race relations and civil rights where people are like, oh, if your family's racist, cut them off. Da 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 da.
Yeah.
And it's like that's so untenable for some people to like just cut your whole family off if
Yeah.
they don't agree with
Agree
your
with your
stance on like
politics.
racial politics, especially in a country where they have been taught like so many things about race relations that like aren't true or that are like propaganda.
Mm-hmm.
And like
Yeah.
it like actively takes time to like either unlearn those things and like learn a new set and like create a new system for yourself of like thinking about things.
Mm-hmm.
Um but yeah, don't like that's like not a good way to be radical. Like you don't have to like turn your back on everybody in
Burn
your
your
life.
life.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Don't burn your life behind your political beliefs. Find a way to like, or do. It's a free country.
Honestly, yeah, you're right. Do what you want,
Becca,
guys.
Becca and I just aren't gonna. Becca and I aren't gonna do that. But anyway, I think we're gonna throw it with a little break, and then we'll be back.
Guys, I'm scared.
And we're back.
Achoo.
Achoo. Oh my god, I sneezed when I
Achoo.
get scared. Achoo. Achoo. Oh my god, I should have saved that one. Anyway, but we are back, and guys,
Yeah.
notice that Becca and I have been happier lately on the pod. Maybe like, we're not yelling as
Gentle,
much, and
effervescent.
because we've had a lot of comment corners, and guys, Becca and I love our fans. Is the thing.
Yeah,
We love you guys that listen every week. We
fondly.
know all four of you, by name. But
Oh,
once in
babies.
a while, and by that I mean for the first time ever, MPJ has had a celebrity notice. Other than me and Becca, of course.
Guys, long time coming.
So, and this situation is ultimately a testament to if you are annoying on the internet, things can happen for you. And I myself did not even have to be that annoying. So,
Mm.
if you all remember, a couple weeks ago, Becca and I sat down and we gave our predictions for 2023.
Mm-hmm.
One of our predictions was that Jack Harlow and Bowen Yang would be spotted holding hands.
It's true. It's true. It's true.
Becca, being the genius she is, made that one of our highlights
Thank you.
for that week of the podcast. And I, being, in the partnership, I reposted that to my story as I'm wont to do. And I like to think of like a little contextualization whenever I post, like whenever I do a little story repost, a little behind the scene, like a little something. And so I was like, oh, I'll like mention Bo and Yang in this. Like it'll be funny. And so I posted the story and I said, like, I put the thing and I was like, at Bo and Yang, can you confirm? I think I maybe put, can you confirm Joan, which would be Bowen and Jack's ship name.
Yeah, famously.
And so then I'm just like, I just go about my business and I'm like, you know, just whatever, people are going to see my Instagram story, whatever. And then I come back to Instagram later in the day and I have a message and I'm like, huh, what's going on? And so I go in and I'm like, wait, what?
Wait, what?
Bowen Yang replied to your story.
Yeah. Yeah, actually. Yeah.
Guys, Bowen Yang has entered the MPJCU.
Welcome.
Welcome, Bowen. We love you.
Thank you.
And so he, of course, replied to my story with the kind of smirking emoji and the wink emoji.
Lovely.
And that is Bowen Yang's comment corner on
Enough said.
enough
Oh my God.
literally said, but literally like, isn't that so crazy?
No, like,
Because that means he watched it.
yeah. No, also the amount of things I've tagged him in before.
Really?
Like, yeah. I be tagging celebrities in everything.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Like, I love doing that. Just on the off chance. And babe, it
I
was that
know.
chance.
We
It
struck
was that
gold.
chance.
We
And
struck
actually,
gold.
this is I'm so glad you mentioned this because this was actually synchronicity of mine.
Mhm.
Because for
Oh,
whatever
yeah.
reason, I knew I wanted this as a highlight, but I was
Uh-huh.
like, I feel like I need to post it on like the best day of the week. And then I was like, what day of the week did I post that I cannot be yelled at video?
Uh-huh.
Because I'll just do it on that day. And I was like, my birthday was a Thursday, so it was on a Wednesday. So I
Mhm.
waited till Wednesday. And then I was like, and I was having like a feeling like, what if Lil Nas X sees this
Uh-huh.
and like replies? And I was like, that would be crazy. Posted it. And then you hit me with the boom pow, Bo and Yang. So much better, actually.
So I feel
um,
like Bowen Yang is more like reclusive, harder to get to on the internet than Lil Nas X. Because Lil
oh,
Nas X is ultimately
absolutely.
one of us, and that's why we love him.
Yeah, yeah,
He's
exactly.
one of us little internet gremlins.
Yeah, he spends all his time scrolling. I know it.
Yeah.
But I'm so happy and I'm so glad that I intuitively knew it. Bo and Yang come on the podcast challenge.
No, literally. Honestly, that would be so crazy because Las Culturistas, which is his podcast with Matt Rogers, is like
So
probably
meaningful.
my
So
favorite
meaningful to
podcast.
us.
And like is so like it was very formative in like us even starting this podcast. Like my part in it definitely,
Absolutely.
at least, and it probably informs a lot of what we do on this podcast. And so, although there is another question I want to ask. Who is Bowen Yang's co-star right now? But Ariana Grande.
Oh, and Wicked.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Okay. I'll be so interested to see how this cast interacts with each other. I mean, I know Ariana, Cynthia, and Bowen are gonna get on like pots in the kitchen.
Hmm.
That redhead guy, I don't know him
What redhead guy?
exactly.
Oh, Ethan Slater,
I just proved your point so hard.
Mr.
My point.
SpongeBob.
Uh, oh, okay. Um, and then I know that guy from
Jonathan Bailey.
Bridgerton. Yeah,
He seems like a hoot and a half, or not like a
yeah.
hoot, but he just seems like a nice guy.
The
He was
half.
on Drag Race, and I was like,
Emphasis
oh,
on
he's
the
a
half.
nice guy. And then I found
Oh,
out,
really?
I found out that like things that I think about him were true. And so
He's
then I was
gay.
like, yes, which in Becca and I's lingo is.
Yeah.
Well, that was
He's
even the thing I didn't think about him because he just seems like some guy. And then I like looked it up and it's like, oh, gay. And I was like, oh,
uh
there's also somebody on the Wednesday show that was that kind of narrative where like I was like, oh, they're
Thinking
cute,
things.
and then turned out gay, and I was like, oh.
Gay.
And then even
No
crazier.
schnapp
Ready for this?
vibes.
Ready for
Whoa.
this?
What?
Married.
Gay and married.
Yes,
Ah!
at the age of 28.
Oh my dear God. This
Child
is like a
bride
Lee Pace
status.
situation. Lee Pace.
No,
Gay?
when I found out that Lee Pace was gay, I was like, oh my God,
It changed the
what?
world.
It
It's
changed
changed
the
the
world a little
world.
bit. It changed my world.
In your favor. In your
In
favor.
my favor,
Absolutely.
actually. No,
uh,
do you think there's any way that like wait, do you think there's any way that like Ariana Grande might know?
Stop.
Like, do you think he might have been like, oh my God, guys, look at this?
I just got chills and I might cry.
Or like maybe even better, what if like the next day he like showed up to set and he was like, they were talking and they were like, maybe they were talking and they were like, oh my God, fans do the darndest things. And then Bone's like, oh my God, yeah, they do. Do you know what I saw yesterday? These fans were speculating that Jack Harlow and I are gonna date this year. And then they were like, oh my God, that's so funny and original. And I bet the people who came up with that are also like extremely hot and sexy. And one of them like recently got kind of
Yeah.
a cool haircut. And one of them actually got an interview to at NYU, which like not everybody gets ultimately. And so like that's how I
Man,
that's
why
how
do I
I
feel like
imagine the
that's
conversation
real?
going. No,
And then
in our minds
Ariana would
it
be
can
like,
be.
you and Jack just wouldn't work because you're too sexy, Bowen.
No, yeah. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. But anyway, that was our comment corner. That was a good comment corner, guys.
That was all the comment corner. Jesus. Dear God.
But anyway, now we get to the point in our weeks where we do the manifesting moments and the jump scares of the week. And the jump scares come first, actually, because we want to get those out of the way.
Mhm.
Because a jump scare is a time in the week where we felt kind of unsafe and unsound, very different from what Taylor Swift sang about on the Hunger Games soundtrack. Maybe
Opposite,
even the
actually.
antithesis, I would go as far to say. But Becca,
Mhm.
what do you believe that moment was for you this week?
Well, so New Year, new me, I have been
Mm-hmm.
making some good meals lately,
Work.
and I love salads. I'm a salad girl. So I try to make as many as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been following these recipes from Baked by Melissa on TikTok, who
Okay,
is
work.
wonderful. I love the way she finally chops everything.
Mm.
She inspires me to get better with my knife skills. But something about me is every time I've tried to make my own dressing,
Uh-huh.
it flops so hard.
Really?
And dressing is actually so integral, and it sucks that once you pour it all over a salad, that's
It's
gonna
like
be your
this is kind of just
dressing.
how
You
it is
can't,
now.
yeah, you can't really get
You
rid
can't
of
put the genie
that.
back in the bottle, or you can't, even better, you can't put the dressing back in the bottle.
Thank you.
It's more specific, less analogy. So it kind of just depends on your personal style. But anyway, yeah.
I'll take both. I'll put it in my pocket for a rainy
Mm.
day. Yeah, and I don't know if it's like the olive oil I have as the base of it that's
Mm.
bad, or if it's just like me.
What kind of dressing may I ask?
Well, I've tried now a green goddess, and I've tried a make your own Italian.
Mm-hmm.
They're just not they're not coming together the way I would have expected.
I had a green goddess one time and it was actually pretty good. I wonder if I still have that saved somewhere. Because I find, but you are right in that you kind of have to get the right. Oh, I have a pesto vinaigrette saved because
Oh.
I wanted to make an imitation Roots pesto Caesar,
Oh,
and it's oh
roots.
my God, not found. Anyway, but
Oh boy.
yeah, and
Oh
that's
boy.
pesto vinegar. They put pesto vinaigrette and Caesar dressing on those, and
Okay.
sriracha if you're okay with that, which I personally am. Because at
Yes.
this stage of
Sign
my
me
life,
up.
I like a little spice.
Spicy. What's
Little,
it spicy?
little flavor.
Yeah.
But I've definitely made green goddess before. Um,
I just gotta keep trying, I guess, until I
yeah, no,
succeed.
I believe in you. I believe in you ultimately because you're passionate,
Yes, that is one thing I am.
and so
And I
nothing can
used to
stop
make
you.
I
Ultimately.
used to make a really good vegan Caesar. That was so
Mmm.
lovely. But I need to like get back into working with that as well.
Yeah, literally.
Homemade dressing. Such also ingredients are like it's like okay, I'm gonna have to spend
I have to go
$45 on
buy a
ingredients.
whole I have to go
Like,
buy a whole fucking bottle of white wine vinegar that I'm never gonna use again.
literally, except for this when I make it all the time.
Yeah.
No, it's stupid. So
That's why
yeah.
things like HelloFresh and stuff are so good, because it's like you can just get the I've never done one, but like I do find that to be a
A convenient thought.
yes.
I've toyed with that idea, but it does freak me out because like what if I'm not home and then my food's out in the weather for hours and
Yeah.
hours?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I've never really actually thought about like doing it, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Well, every time they send a code in the mail, I'm kind of like, oh, maybe this will be the month.
I went to my friend's house recently and he had like 30 of those codes. And I'm like, they definitely target college students.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely a key demo for them.
Adjacent jump scare. My
Let's
friend
hear it.
Lauren is literally on a keto diet right now. So she can't do anything or have
She
any
can't do anything
fun.
fun.
Literally. Boo.
Keto is no carbs.
Yeah, which is like your body does need 125 carbs a day to run your brain.
Yeah.
It puts you in
Yeah.
ketosis, which is actually what I was in when I was diagnosed with diabetes and almost
Okay,
died.
work. She was like,
Yeah.
okay, now it's my turn.
But I was skinny. I lost what, 45 pounds in 2 weeks?
Is that real?
Yeah.
Becca, that's like a crazy experience you went through. Like how people describe ayahuasca, like that's what I imagine you going through.
It
Like
was ayahuasca prolonged over
it was
many,
like
many
you went
weeks.
through ayahuasca, but just like didn't hallucinate. Like your nightmare was like real.
Yeah, I know where it was actually happening.
Oh my
Yeah, and
God,
there's
45
photos.
pounds in 2 weeks?
Yeah, the same thing happened to Nick Jonas. Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, I was so weak.
People
I could not
people
have been
come up and they're
weaker.
like, "Girl, what's your secret?" Like,
Girl, you look so good. No, I got told many times that I looked good. And I was like,
and isn't
thank
that
you.
so fucked up?
Literally, I was
You're
fully
like, I'm
dying.
literally on my deathbed right now,
So that's a crazy thing
but
to
I'm
say.
squinty. Like,
No, at the like between the doctor and the hospital, I don't know how this happened, but when I was at the doctor before I went to the ER, I
mm,
was 5 pounds more. And then hours later, I was 5 pounds less
that's crazy.
without going to the bathroom. My body
Oh
was just
my
eating
God.
itself. Yeah.
Oh my God. That's
So that is the biggest jump scare of all,
crazy.
actually.
So guys, really good diet tip. If you want to lose some weight, find a way to kill your pancreas.
Yeah. You
Well,
could
guys,
stab it
don't do
actually,
that
old
actually.
old fashioned way. All right, okay. Yeah, no, don't. Well, happy diversity.
Happy diversity.
Eat some sugar. Yeah, but so that's what's been scaring me lately, I suppose. Quinn,
Mhm.
what has been spooky, 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 oogie to you?
Well, guys, I know I talk about it on this podcast a lot, but I'd be warring with my laptop just to get an episode out every week.
No, not again. Well, yeah,
And
I do.
like,
No.
oh my God, my computer is just so damn dramatic about not having space and up, all this stuff. And it's
Yeah.
like it's confusing because it's like okay, so basically what I do is like I edit the podcast and then I'll save it for like a week because I'll want to like copy and paste like the sound drops.
Mm-hmm.
And so I copy and paste them from week to week. So I usually have like 2 weeks worth of episodes on my computer, which still isn't that much. And I've like cleared out a lot of stuff on my iMovie, like a bunch of stuff I like didn't really need anymore, and just like, but like, and I haven't downloaded anything. I've downloaded. I'm gonna get the official number. Um, Going to my Finder. That's how serious I am about this. Since August 22nd, which was 4 months ago at this point, I've downloaded 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've downloaded 10 documents onto my computer
Mm-hmm.
in 4 months.
Documents.
And which is a low number, especially
Yeah.
compared to what I was pulling in college.
Yeah.
And my computer was still like, oh my God, we're running out of space. And it was slowly like just trickling down. Like at some point, like I want to say like a month or two ago, I had like 20 gigabytes of space. And so I was like, oh, I'm good. And there's this weird thing where like, there's this weird setting in iMovie where like you would hit like, delete render files. I don't know what that means, but if I hit it, it would clear up a bunch of space on the computer without changing anything. And so I was like, okay, this is all just fake anyway. But then that stopped working. And so
Confirmed.
I was like, okay, so what is going on? And like, it was honestly just a struggle. And then my computer did that really fun thing where it exports the episode, video and audio, and then there's actually, surprise, no video. So that's why there was two
Mm-hmm.
separate videos this week for the podcast, because I had to
Yeah.
go in, and this is why it was late, because I had to go in, I had to I went block by block. So like A block, B block, C block, which is what Becca and I call them on like the back end. Yeah, it's an industry term. And I exported all of them. This was the fuck of it all too. I exported all of them, like, because I don't know what causes that, and I haven't been able to find a answer on what causes the video not to export. So I
Yeah. Is
export
it just
all of
every time that we have a guest?
Yes, it's happened every time we have a guest. It also happened with the dogs who can't bark, but I think that might have been because we used a different platform to record it on.
Oh, right.
But it's really weird because the times we've had one guest, it's always not worked. But the random time we had 3 separate guests on the podcast
That worked.
did not have any issues. So like,
Oh my dear
what the
God.
fuck is going on?
Guys,
And this
I'm
is
so
like,
scared.
this is why I'm at the end. Friday, I'm at the end of my rope. I'm about to cancel this. JK. So anyway, I have to go through. I export all the blocks. All the blocks, when I export them by themselves, even though they're all different lengths and like different. Anyway, all the blocks don't have that issue. Like they all export and they have the audio and the video like normal. And so then I'm like, okay, so what if I then put all the blocks together? All the ones I know, all the files I know that are completely good, if I put them all together and then export that. And then what happens? But it was a little bit different, but it like exported a black screen. Usually when it exports, like on the Lauren Taylor episode and the Nan episode, it exported and it would just show a little like sound thing. This one at least had a black screen. And so I'm like, what the fuck if all the because I thought maybe it was like a corrupted clip, but then all the clips literally like. And then you guys will have seen a cut for time, but when I exported that, it exported completely normally too. So it was just all this shit that I was like, oh my God, like, why isn't this working?
So annoyed, actually.
Like it should be working, but it's not working. And so then it was just, yeah. And so then I was like, okay, I'm gonna do that. I made a compromise with myself, and I of course consulted Miss Becca. Well, I more was like, okay, this has been 2 days, and now I just need to let her know what I've come to by myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, so. But I also
Torturous.
I like to make sure a video gets out, because I know that people do like watching video, and our ones that don't have video on YouTube don't do as well. And so view count wise. And so
I believe it.
it was just a whole thing. But little preemptive manic pixie moment. That's not my actual manic pixie moment. I forget what my actual manic pixie moment is, but that's for Quinn in like 5 minutes problem. Yesterday I bought a new hard drive, and I exported my entire iMovie library onto this here hard drive. And then I deleted it from my computer. And so now this needs to be plugged in whenever I want to use old projects on my iMovie, but it's freed up 40 gigabytes of space on my laptop. So
oh my goodness, good.
No storage problems for me for like at least 2 weeks, probably.
And hopefully by then. Well, Mercury is out of retrograde, so things I think should be better for you, actually, Quinn.
Was Mercury in retrograde?
For like so long.
How'd I miss that?
How'd that miss?
But that was the glitch I was talking about earlier that was the other glitch I was talking about earlier in the episode.
Yeah. No, yeah, wait. Let me check on Mercury right now, actually.
What is that crazy girl up to?
It's coming out on tomorrow.
Really?
Yeah.
That makes so much sense. See, guys, see?
There's no
Like,
such thing as
do
a
I think,
coincidence.
do I think Mercury being in retrograde literally caused my computer to do all that? No. Like, not 100%. But is it an interesting way to look at it? To be like, oh my God, isn't it an interesting way to just like
Look
explain
at that
something that is
alignment.
ultimately inexplicable? Because you guys just heard me explain why it is so inexplicable.
Yeah. I explained the inexplicableness, and I hope
Literally.
you guys get that.
It can just give me some
Hope you get
solace.
that.
So let me fucking live. But that's
Come
my
on,
jump
Leo.
scare.
Spooks. Spooks
And
McGooks.
so we now turn to the Mana Pixie moments, and the Mana Pixie moment is just a moment where we felt like Lena Dunham in Girls, because we are not only the writer, but we're also the star of the show. Because we ultimately write our own destiny, and then that destiny is the very
Ah,
thing we live out, which is kind of a beautiful thing when you think about it.
mm,
And so Becca, what
lovely.
was that moment for you this week?
So, y'all know I love my graphic design. Heard.
Heard.
Um,
Chipotle workers for some reason when I order something. Heard.
heard. Write that down.
Right, that, yeah.
That's a good one. That's a good one. No, but so this every once in a while I do check my work jam, which is shows what's going on in all the Ultas in the nation sometimes.
Oh my
And
God.
yeah, I saw a memo in Ulta announcements
A memorandum.
that there was this t-shirt contest going on where
A
you
wet
can
t-shirt contest?
and babe already won.
That's very
The Ulta
unethical
announcement
for.
was just that I won.
Oh my God.
Um
You didn't even have to
great.
enter, girl.
Yeah, they knew. Um No, but a graphic design t-shirt contest. It's serving like very iCarly like episode plot. Graphic design t-shirt
It's
contest.
giving ice cream for Kesha.
Exactly. I have to go through all the designs and find all those letters, and then she'll come to my basement. Um, but so I entered a design, and I just love doing things on my iPad and in also on my computer in Adobe, because I feel so smart when I can like make a shape and then make it like do something else. So fun and
Literally.
exciting.
I had a thought the other day where I was like, I should learn Photoshop.
It's a great tool
I
to
did
know.
I did have to learn a little bit for this one class I was in high school, but it didn't stick. But there are sometimes things I want to make for the like show. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
well, I don't want to burn Becca with all of it. And it's also
Oh.
sometimes I have these weird ideas where I'm like, oh, I can't like describe that to a different person. Like I have to like
This has to come from me.
I have to like play with it myself, but I'm like,
I get
anyway.
that. I get
And
that.
also other things in my life. But, you know, this is just my kind of main jam creatively.
Yeah. Um, yeah,
Um,
but I just love doing little tasks. And
iPads are
so I sent
crazy.
in my design. iPads are crazy. It's
Yeah,
true. Well, that's what made this week a little bit exciting and fun.
love that.
And what was your exciting, fun moment this week?
Ew. My exciting fun moment, honestly, okay, so obviously I had a little tough weekend when it came to producing this damn podcast.
Right?
Um, and so I was just very much like, and I was explaining the whole thing to my friend Corey because I was just like, 'cause sometimes it's good to talk things out and like just I'm actually really enjoying writing down the bones, which is this writing book I'm reading, and it's kind of like about writing, but it also just has some useful stuff for life a little bit.
Mm.
And she talks about like one of the first essays is called composting, and she's like, if you ever get like frustrated that you feel like you're like writing the same thing a lot, or like you like feel like you're talking about the same thing, it's okay because you're just like processing it, like
Mm.
because I've reached out and like sometimes when I'm doing my pages and like journaling and stuff, it's like I get sick of talking about the same things, and I'll like write out literally I'm sick of talking about this. And then
Mm-hmm.
reading that essay was like, oh, that's like other people do that. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm just, composting right now.
I'm just being so silly.
Um and so I was just like, okay. And then I was trying to be like, there's another one about being specific. And so trying to not just be like, oh, I'm just having problems with the podcast. Where it's like, oh no, let me talk like and say, like, okay, this is happening and this is happening and this is happening and this is happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I was verbalizing all of that, and like it is hard sometimes creatively because like obviously we like Becca and I don't have huge platforms. Like this show ultimately isn't heard by like everybody ever, which is
Mm-hmm.
fine. But like it's hard when you are brought up being like, oh, the amount of success or like the worthiness of something is how much eyes you can get on it ultimately, which I feel like is kind of like the prevailing narrative. Like
Right.
the more popular something is, the more better or the like more legitimate it is. Not even like the better quality it is. But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
so sometimes it's like, well, like all this like stress and I don't even know like what it like this podcast isn't like blowing up or anything. So why am I like, investing all this time? And it was just like all that stuff that's kind of like, I enjoy doing this podcast a lot. Like, don't get me wrong. But,
Mm-hmm.
you just have moments like with everything in your life. I feel like you have moments where you're like, huh, you have to like
Right.
choose to do things. And then in the
Yeah.
midst of all that, we got a listener letter from Miss Sci Iconic. Or ectoplasmatic, sorry. Sci Iconic is something
Ah.
else. Miss Ectoplasmatic, um, who, and we'll get into that next week. But it was just nice and it had a lot of nice things about the show,
Mm-hmm.
and how much they enjoy the show. And that's just a really nice thing to hear, especially because I had literally like an hour before been telling my friend all this stuff about and like complaining and like because I needed the space to do that. And then I get a little nice thing that's like, keep going.
No, literally.
Literally. And I get that all the time with
That's what
like,
fate
because
is.
no, literally, I get all these little things like Bow and Yang like getting the Bow and Yang notice was like a thing that's like, oh, keep going. Like
Yeah.
there is something and stuff. And so it's just nice to have those little reminders. And I felt like, oh, synchronicity. It was a synchronicity. Um, but yeah.
So true. Aw. Yay. I'm glad you were affirmed.
Yes.
My
And that
squishmallow fell on my back when I said affirmed, as if it was a pat on the back from spirit above, from
and
Mars herself.
that's such a lovely sentiment to end on. I literally wouldn't want to end on anything else we've said this episode except for that. And so Becca, where can people follow up with you and Mars if they are so inclined to do so?
Well, thanks for asking. They can follow me at Becca Hobart on Instagram, Bex
Mm-hmm.
Gloss on Twitter and Spotify, and Where Y'all Going During World War III on TikTok. They can also find me shivering in bed at night because it is just so darn cold.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I have
Yeah,
placed another blanket over my regular blanket.
exactly. Blanket number
Um,
2. Well,
wait, what since we did bring up Mars, what's your Mars placement again? Remind me, is it Cancer?
yeah,
That's so a crazy thing about your chart.
I know.
Have you ever seen Miss Nikita Joy's chart?
No, I haven't.
She's like all Scorpios, but like more so than you're all Cancer.
Wow.
Like literally
How
all
could
of her
anyone
placements
be?
are Scorpio.
Oh my goodness. Wow. So mysterious then.
Literally.
Wow. Well, Quinn, where can the people keep up with you individually?
You can keep up with me at Quimpy Murphy on Instagram and TikTok, and you can keep up with me at Quimpy Murphy _, on Twitter. And you can find me on Mars, but my Mars is actually in Taurus. And that's my only
Mm,
Earth placement, and it's my only non-fire and air placement, as we
fascinating.
have discussed thoroughly on this podcast.
Yeah, so true.
And Becca, where can people keep up with the show if they are so inclined? I remembered to ask that this week. Look at me.
Thank you. Well, they can follow at Manic Pixie Jumpscare on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, where we post the podcast at length in video format. We try, as long as Quinn's computer, Beverly, behaves. And
My computer does not deserve a name as interesting as Beverly. I'm gonna say that. Floppiana is my computer name. It's Floppiana.
Middle name Bev. Anywho.
Floppiana Babs.
The
Floppiana,
dichotomy of
what's like a
that.
dumbass name? Like
Floppiana.
Chartrude. Like not even chartreuse, but like chartrude. Like not even a word.
Chartrude.
Or like radish. Like Floppiana
Shrub.
Radish.
Yeah.
Floppiana Radish Shrub is her name.
Yeah, because you can barely say it. It's perfect. So flop.
Literally.
Alrighty.
Her name is
and
whatever Elon Musk's kid is named.
then E6000. M3 Gun. If Elon Musk,
I got M2
oh my
then.
god, that bitch is totally gonna make a Megan
Oh my god.
just to make people I see that coming.
If Megan is
Prediction.
Megan, my computer is Mogan because the 3 is a 0 actually.
Mogan. The 3 is a 7. Megan.
Maleg.
Megan. Anyway. Yeah, and also please email in at manicpcjumpscare@gmail.com, guys. We love it when you do that.
Yes.
Also tag your favorite celebrity in any of our highlights on TikTok or Instagram.
Guys, literally, and then you can be annoying on the internet and perhaps get awarded like I was.
Exactly.
Like we all were, actually.
This whole community
Let's say it.
benefited. Yeah. Well,
We're Quinn. And we're Becca. And thank you for listening.
Manic Pixie Jump Scare is hosted by Quinn Murphy
And Becca Hobart. Executive produced by Quinn Murphy and Becca Hobart.
Sound and video editing by Quinn Murphy.
Social media management and highlights by Becca Hobart.
And our theme song was written by Quinn Murphy, Becca Hobart, and Nandita Mahesh.